like most things in life, you wait long enough and you'll get the answers that you need. And very much a big thank you to NRL Fantasy for them telling us that they love us. It's so sweet. It sounds like they the DPP updates are coming in round 20. It says when the DPP updates are due. It's actually after round 20 if you look at the rules. So unless they're changing it, this is very misleading. This little thing at the bottom. But yeah, nice to go. Oh, you're going to get an extra 8 trades. Yay. Our good news, and we've patiently waited for, is the Shaun Johnson was going to be playing this week. And what about everyone just stalking his wife? She just posted a story saying that, hopefully the baby doesn't come this week because hubby Sean is traveling and he's going to be playing. So I imagine unless something happens tomorrow night or Saturday morning or something like that, then he'll definitely be playing. And I'd imagine he does fly back straight away that night or the next morning or something. So he's only away for like 24 hours or whatever it's going to be. So great news for us and our fantasy squads, obviously there, that we'll have Sean there playing. And for those that had the extra trades and maybe kind of half wanted him to be out this week so they could make or they had an extra player, for example, like a Tanner Boyd or Brendan Hands that could play in half position or something like that. And unfortunate for you guys, but with my squad, if he is playing, which is likely now that he will, I'm just going to use the one trade. I think I'm just going to go Damien Cook straight to Brendan Hands. And what this does allow is obviously me to have 13 players this week, which is going to be really, really important. And hopefully, for me and my sake, I can make back a bunch of those ranks for those that have limited trades or aren't able to get 13 on the park this week. And I should be able to sneak into the top 100, you would imagine, pretty easily with a full 13. A couple of those guys, not the best players you could pick in Brendan Hands and Taff, and then Tafade as well. But name me any player right now in NRL Fantasy that has got a full gun 13. It'd be very unlikely, especially when the best players in the hooking position is going to be like a Jacob Little, and Hands could score as many as him. Anyway, so that allows me to hold a lot of these guys in the emergencies and interchange, and the mid position is something I'm going to need one of them next week. So Isaiah Yo's and these types of guys could be a factor coming into next week. And if that's the way we play it, if it's Yo, if it's Addison or Blake, unlikely considering I have 3 Warriors. If it's Ryan Madison, again unlikely because I have a lot of Eels in my squad. It would likely be Isaiah if he does back up, and then really from there I'm probably waiting on an injury or a suspension to one of my edges / mids, if I can potentially cover, to be able to bring in Payne Haas eventually. But you'd imagine that DeBell and Horsburgh, Hopgood, Harris, and Isaiah Yeo would be able to do a really good job, and Dave Fafita is going to be a guy that we're going to want in our squads come next week as well. So yeah, that one trade leaves me with 585 in the bank, and thinking of that type of move next week because I will need a mid. All the other positions are going to be completely fine. The only thing to note now, guys, is that Shaun Johnson is likely to miss next week then, but we'll see what happens. His wife is due mid next week, I believe, mid to late next week, but it could happen at any time, obviously. And if he's out next week, it poses a big question of do we use Johnson as a trade out target because of him potentially being out in round 20 in an important week, and then the potential for he's definitely going to be out in round 22 when the Warriors have their bye. So that's 2 of the last 7-8 rounds from that point that he would be missing. And if you could use Johnson to get to obviously a Cleary, could be really cool. But Johnson straight to a Fafita, given he's at 852 and Johnson at this stage is 847, coming off of 30. He will go down a bit, but you're only going to need 30 to 50k to get to a Fafita, to get to a Haas, obviously 170 or 180 what it's going to be to get to a Cleary. You likely be able to straight swap into an Isaiah Yeo or a Pat Carrigan, these types of players as well. So that's something to note heading into next week. And sort of this round here and then round 20 are going to be 2 weeks that I'm going to be wanting to push really hard. And the reason for getting that 585 is that I could get 2 guns next week and hopefully upgrade, Blake Taff. If he can score all right this week and, maybe it's a bit of a higher scoring one would be really nice for this one, so he can get some goals, he can get some attacking stats as well. Passing and obviously scoring there would be nice. Then we can upgrade him next week, which would be really, really cool. My wing fullback position and centre this week, I think, is where a lot of my money's going to be made in terms of point scoring. Anyway, with Val, with Penasini, with Buller, with Taff, and with Nickel Klukstad, all 5 of those guys a little bit more on the pod side. now that I think Buller's going to be traded out a little bit potentially this week, but he's going to be really the main sort of higher ownership guy. The other guys are going to be really important to be able to do really well. Isaiah Papali'i and Bateman are the other guys, and then Brendan Hands. And most of the other guys are very, very highly owned. So I know most people are going to be captaining Nicho Hynes in this one tonight. Make sure your vice captain is on one of the guys he plays against. There's no point having it on a guy like Jack de Belin in a later game because your captain's in the first game, which is Nicho in this one. If you don't have Nicho, then potential for a Joe Tarpany, a Jack de Belin. Those types of guys would be where I'd be looking to slot my captaincy. Jack, I think, is the mainstay and the second best option for sure. Make sure you put your vice on Isaiah Papali'i or Bateman, which I will do later tonight. I will be reversing my Cook trade to Hands at this stage and until a later date there for sure. And if we find out anything more on Johnson, then we can make that trade there. I just wanted to show you what that looks like heading into tonight, and hope that it's a fairly good game, given I'm going to have Buller, Papali'i, Bateman, and Hynes. I know a lot of other people are going to have Nikora and stuff like that. So hopefully, for my sake, and is that if Isaiah Papali'i or Bateman is on Nikora's side, that they can defend him fairly solidly. But we'll see how that goes for sure. Let's just have a look at the people squad to finish things off there, and they've given us that little reminder again, the lovely people. We've used our last two trades. It leaves us 243 in the bank, and Cook and Turpin, they come out, and we do make a couple of nice trades in Val Tafari and actually Jermaine Asako. So looking at this now, guys, it's very, very interesting heading into round 21. So a couple of rounds away, 19 and 20. 2 more weeks of work, and then we're going to have Val, Asako, and also Lemuelu out. So that's just something to notice, guys, that's in the people squad, that we may have to use a few of our trades to be able to cover that center position. We'll have Manu in there that can come in. Our fullback position will be completely fine. Obviously, with Ruben to come back in that position, which is going to be cool. We have Ponga that we can go in there as well. Not a problem in the world there. On that front, it's just a center position that we'll definitely need to be able to cover with one more player. So whether that's a straight gun that maybe Lemuelu goes to, or something like that, like a Gagai and Isaac Tung, all these types of players could be the best selections for that. But yeah, so we end up with 12, if I'm correct. Yes, 12 with Johnson playing there. Drinkwater's the only one that's sitting in that starting squad that won't be playing. And yeah, I think the team's looking in a very good position. Obviously, that Dolphins game is going to be pretty important for our squad with those 3 pods in Val, Lemuelu, and also Asako. Preston's still a decent ownership there. Simkin, we'd like to get a good 40 out of, would be nice here. Just the minutes. He seems to actually be doing pretty well with the minutes available, and they got absolutely pummeled on the weekend. You've still able to score a 38, so that was pretty exciting on that front. But yeah, no trades left now, so 8 remaining overall, 9 for my team, 243 in the bank, and who would we be likely looking to trade next week? That's the real question. Is it like a Fisher Harris, or is it do we just keep him next week because we're going to need him in that mid position? Someone like Horsburgh is going to be of interest soon as well. And then potentially, we definitely don't need another half, but could be Fafita as a good edge player there, considering we have Bateman, Preston, and one more on the edge would work pretty well. And then we're going to have to look to round 21 for a center there. We just picked up our wing fullback gun in Asako. So there you go. They're the trades for both of our teams, guys. Let me know what trades you're making in the comments below. And I wish you all the luck heading into round 19, the last major buy round. Yay! 9 rounds to go. Thanks for watching.